if I am, but I don't know. It says I'm testing the bandwidth. So I'm just going to have to sit tight here. Nope, there it is. Looks like it is live now. Okay. So, doing this on some different software. Let me do something here real quick. All right. Hopefully that'll make me a little less shiny. So, here we are, folks. We are live. At least I think we are. But I'm going to check again and see, because it's not showing up on YouTube. So I don't know. I see 14 people are here watching, so that's good. So I guess we are live. Somebody say something so that I know that we're good to go. I'm doing this on the Wirecast software, and it's a little bit different than it usually is. So I'm a little discombobulated, but hopefully, let me see here. Excuse me for a second. There it is. There we are. Okay, I forgot to open up the comments. So okay, so here we are. We are live. Yeah, I know. If I seem disheveled, if I seem out of sorts, it's because I am. And we're going to talk about that. You saw the title of this live stream. For some reason, it's still not showing up on my channel when I go to check it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not going to be able to see myself. Anyway. All right, folks. So welcome to Tank Talk Live. I know this seems to be a little bit unorthodox the way I'm doing things. If you are here for the first time, I do this every Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m., the exact same time it is right now, wherever that is where you live. This is when I do it every single week. Merry Christmas to you too, Lee. Hello to everyone who's checking in already. Glad to have you here. I hope that you all had a Merry Christmas. I certainly did. It was wonderful. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But how can you hear me? Fluval sucks. That's nice to say right off the top of the bat. That's fine. You don't like it? You're good. Can you hear me okay? Let me know, because, again, I'm doing this on my phone. And I think that the video quality is probably going to be a lot better than normal. But I don't know about the audio. So, and it's still not showing up on my channel. So I don't know how 110 people are here seeing this, but anyway, listen, folks, I'm going to update you in a minute about the Fluval Edge that we talked about last week. I'm going to update you on the Angel Project. Nothing's happened, but we have plans and we know what we're going to do. So excited to talk to you about that. Yeah, a couple people have commented that things are flipped around. It's because of this app. If I'm appearing backwards, that's why. So, that's one of the downsides to using this software, is that things are backwards. I don't know. I could flip the camera around, and I was actually going to do that so that everything isn't backwards, but I can't find it. What phone do I have? The iPhone 7 Plus is what I'm using. I had the 6S Plus, but it broke. I was probably playing too much Clash Royale, and it broke. So I just got the iPhone 7. So, all right, listen. When we do these live streams, if this is the first one that you've joined us with, first of all, thank you. Glad to have you with us. If you're watching this any day other than December 29th, between the hours of 8 and 9 or so p.m., Eastern Standard Time, you're watching a replay, but I'd still like to welcome you to this too. I do this every single week, and what I do is I like to just kind of hang out. Let's just hang out, let's talk fish, let's have some fun, let's talk about some topics that some people might be uncomfortable talking about. We're certainly going to do that today. I just look at it as this is my opportunity to hang out with my fish friends. How cool is that, right? I would love to have a woodworking live stream, a vaping live stream, a vape stream, a live stream all about superheroes. I could just talk about all my favorite stuff, but I'm not going to have 18 different YouTube channels. So anyway, I like to just hang out. And with that, sometimes I talk a little off the cuff, if you will. And I'm just speaking from my heart. I'm speaking, telling you the way I feel about something, and I'm giving you my honest opinion. And sometimes, you know, it might come across as a little bit harsh. Sometimes I might come across as a jerk, but that's just, we're just hanging out here, right? We're just hanging out here as friends. And when I talk about today's topic, there's a very good reason why I'm going to talk about this topic, and I will share that with you. You might think, who is this guy? What is he doing? What's he trying to accomplish here with this live stream? I don't know, but we'll see. I think that, excuse me, I think that everybody watching this, obviously you are someone who is interested in keeping fish in glass boxes. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. So if you are a fish keeper, believe me, you can relate to what I'm going to talk about today, because we've all been through it. So of course my throat gets all clogged up when I start to do a live stream. So I'm not going to be answering any questions here for the first little bit, but then I do want you to share with me your stories that relate to what I'm about to talk about. And that is the fact that sometimes, folks, sometimes this hobby sucks. And sometimes we ask ourselves, why the hell are we doing this? Why are we torturing these animals? Why are we keeping these beautiful creatures in these glass boxes? Why are we spending all this money? Why do we spend so much time on this hobby only to fail? And you know what? Today is one of those days where I feel like that. Why? Well, two reasons. One, when I came down here today, after I got home from work, I came down into my lair down here to get ready for the live stream. I had my plan for what I was going to talk about and everything else. And what did I find? I found a dead discus in that tank. Dead as a doornail. This isn't a fish that was ailing, that was sick, and I could see that it was sick, and I tried to treat it and, you know, tried to do my best, and I just couldn't save him. No, this fish was perfect yesterday, perfect this morning, and dead today. Dead when I got home from work. And had been dead a while because the other fish had obviously been picking on it because it was, you could tell, it was kind of gnarly. Out of nowhere, this happened. And this is something that happens in this hobby. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you think you are at keeping fish. This kind of thing happens. And you know what? I've been keeping fish since 1993. It has never been easy. It's never gotten easier. Yes, I owned a fish store for 2.5 years. I was breeding fish for years and had thousands of fish at a time. Fish death was something that it just came with the territory. You own a fish store, you got 200 tanks in the store, and they're all full of fish. You're gonna have fish die. It's gonna happen almost every day when you have that many fish. So it is something that you get used to, but when you're in an environment like I'm in now, where I have 9 tanks, it's getting ready to be 10, and you do your best, you do your absolute best to take care of these fish and do the right thing for them, sometimes it still happens. Sometimes you still have that fish that gets sick and dies, or just out of nowhere drops dead, like I had in that tank today. Don't start asking me a bunch of questions. Oh, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you add this? The answers to all of those things are no. I didn't do anything any differently with this tank than I ever do. Now, I told you there was 2 things that happened, not just the one. Well, to add to it, yeah, I found a dead fish in that tank too. Are you kidding me? I mean, not only did I find a dead fish in that tank, and it's an African cichlid tank. When a fish dies in an African cichlid tank, guess what happens? It gets annihilated. So it was really just kind of like some bones and a little bit of a fin. It was, you know, it was the remnants of what used to be a fish. I don't even know what fish it was. It was just fish matter all over the bottom of the tank. Like I said earlier, folks, in the chat here today, share your nightmare stories like this with me. I'll read through them. If I find some good ones, I will show them on, or I'll read them, and I'll talk about them and give you my reaction to those during this stream. So just wanted to get that in there. But there is 2 fish in this tank right now that I'm struggling with. They're a problem. They are sick, and I think that they're pretty much to the point of no return, and that sucks. But it wasn't one of those fish that I found in there today. So to come home in a good mood, I've got a lot of stuff going on as far as my professional life right now. I've actually got a couple of job offers, and I'm entertaining those ideas. That's why for the last week I've been a little bit out of touch. So I've got a lot of things going on, not to mention the holiday and all that kind of stuff. A lot of reasons to be in a good mood. I came down here today in a good mood. I love doing these live streams. Couldn't wait to get down here and do it, only to find one of my absolute favorite fish in there gone. And then another fish, I don't know if it was one of my favorites or not. I haven't done an exact inventory, but one of the fish in there dead too. It's not a good way to start the day, folks, or the evening. And that's what brings me to my point of, you know, we can do everything right. This is, I do believe, one of the best hobbies in the world. There's a lot of hobbies. I mean, I also very much enjoy woodworking. I've been woodworking longer than I've been fish keeping. I'm one of those guys that believes I can make anything, and I really do love that challenge. I'm a woodworker for a living. That's what I do to pay the bills. I mean, I love woodworking and I love fish keeping. To me, those are the two best hobbies that there are. Are there other hobbies out there that I would like to get into and venture into and learn? And so, yeah, I'd love to learn how to play the guitar. Problem is I can't turn my wrist, so I have to play left-handed, which I'm just not coordinated enough to do. I broke my arm skateboarding and I can't turn my wrist farther than that. Where this hand, I can turn it all the way around. So there you go. So guitar, out for me. There's other things too that I'd love to do. But these two are the ones that have been with me the longest. Fish keeping and woodworking. I'm passionate about both of them, and I love it. I think that there is so much good in this hobby. This one in particular. Forget about woodworking. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But the fish keeping hobby, there are so many benefits to this hobby. There's so many things that we can do. There's so many things that this hobby does for us that makes it a beautiful thing. But sometimes it sucks. Sometimes when these things happen that you couldn't see coming, it's hard. And it starts to make you question, my God, why do I spend all this time? Why do I do what I'm doing? I'm pretty adamant about, I don't want to say pretty adamant, I'm very much adamant about my maintenance on my tanks. Am I perfect? Of course I'm not. No, I make mistakes. You do too. Maybe you admit it, maybe you don't. I don't know. But I'm not perfect. I certainly make mistakes. I've certainly let my tanks go a time or two, or 3, or 75. I've made those mistakes. I've done those things. But I try to stay on top of things and do as much as I can to be good to these animals, because at the end of the day, I am an absolute animal lover. I'm not a card-carrying PETA member. I don't have anything against those people, except the crazy ones. I'm an animal lover, and to me, when one of these fish dies, it's like, I blame myself. It's my fault. What did I do wrong? What happened? It might have been a freaking just heart attack freak thing that happens. You hear about marathon runners dropping dead of a stroke. I mean, things happen. You can't see them coming, and there it is. So sometimes you can never explain what it was, but, you know, I've had this happen to me. Well, one fish I've had happen to me. I don't know how many times. I mean, my God, I've been keeping fish 23 years. It's happened a lot. It's never been easy. It's never one of those things where I just go, all right, well, another dead fish. No, especially when it's one of these discus. Now, the other thing that it bothers me, or reason why it bothers me, is taking it to a whole nother level. I'm a guy that keeps fish, and I show them on YouTube. I show them every single week. I show them in videos. I show them in live streams. Everybody sees, not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of people see my tanks. They see my fish. I can't hide anything from anybody. If I was trying to hide something, I would have told you, or I wouldn't have told you that there's 2 sick fish in this tank right now. But you know what? When you live your life like I do, and you do all of this on YouTube, and you show everybody these things every single week, guess what? You would have seen them. You'd see them. And I don't know if they've shown themselves now, but it's one of my Mbunas and my only Venustus is they're just gone. I mean, there's nothing else I can say about them. Some people would put them out of their misery at the place where they are right now, but I just can't do that. I don't know. If I was doing this in my basement by myself, and the only people that I ever associated with as far as this hobby goes are people that I see at the pet store or at aquarium club meetings, which I don't even go to, it would have been no big deal. I'd just be like, oh, yeah, there it is. I lost a fish, whatever. But that's not me. I am doing this. I'm doing this in front of thousands, 175,000 people a month. I can't hide anything from anyone. So that's one of the downsides to this is, I'm doing all of this in front of you. When I make mistakes, you see it. If things happen that, I can't hide, then it's going to be there for everybody to see. And that makes it that much more difficult because, let's face it, I probably could have done this live stream tonight and not said anything about that discus. And you probably wouldn't have noticed. I don't know how many people are watching this and you watch it every week and going, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many of you are doing that. Probably none. So you probably wouldn't have even noticed that the fish was gone and I could have gotten away with it. But I don't do that. I've always tried to be wide open with all of you and share my experiences, the good and the bad. And today was definitely bad. Today is one of those days where I should have seen it coming because too many things were going well. I had a good day at work. I had a lot of really good conversations with people that might be writing paychecks to me later. I had a good day. Lisa cooked a fantastic dinner. It was just wonderful. And then I come down and one of my favorite fish is dead. Kind of makes you wonder why we do this. It's hard. I haven't had a big fish death in a while. And so this one was a shocker to me and one that definitely set me in the wrong direction and made me do this particular live stream on a completely different topic than what I was originally going to do. So I don't know, I don't know what more to say about it. Maybe touch a little bit on what to do when you are in this situation, and also talk about my biggest nightmare scenario that happened last year. Or was it 2 years ago? I don't know. It was a while ago. If you've been a follower of my channel for a long time, you've seen it because I did a video all about it. But anyway, if you find yourself keeping fish, if you're somebody that has not done this for very long, you're new to this, you need to understand that things like what happened to me, they're going to happen. I don't care how good you are. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're going to have fish die. There's no way around it. And get ready for it. If you haven't had one die yet, you're just waiting for the inevitable. It's going to happen. To move past it, if you've got multiple tanks like I do, and one fish dies, and you've got 78 fish, well, it's not a huge deal. You can move past it. It's no big deal. But if you have one tank, and your favorite fish in that tank dies, you have to move past it. You have to learn from it. If there is a learning, something to learn from. I mean, sometimes this happens and it has nothing to do with what you've done. So what do you learn from that? I don't know. You just learn that these things happen sometimes, I guess. But if you're making mistakes and you have a fish die as a result of one of those mistakes, you learn from it and you become better at this hobby. You go right back into it. Don't take your tanks down and sell them on Craigslist. Don't do all of that. This hobby has way too many positive benefits to you. Stress relief, something to do to keep you off the computer, something to do to keep you out of your bed watching Netflix. I mean, there's so many benefits to it. Not only that, but just looking at it and being able to enjoy these animals, trying to create the most natural environment you can for them and do your best for them. What's better than that? I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You don't want to walk away from that because you had a fish die. I've seen it. When I had my store, there were people that would come in. I'm out. I had 2 fish die. That's it. I suck at this hobby. I'm out. I can't do it anymore. Don't do that. I mean, it's not like you're a stock car racer and you had a huge accident and broke your neck and said, okay, I'm never driving again. That would make sense. But this is different. I mean, this is something where you've got so many benefits to your life from this hobby. You should never walk away from it for something like that. There are reasons to walk away from this hobby, sure, but don't let losing a fish like I did today be one of those reasons. Okay, that's the biggest thing that I would say. Now, I've seen quite a few long comments put up. I'm gonna get to those in a minute. I'm gonna scroll back and go through them because I still can't pull it up on my computer, and I don't know why. It's kind of bothering me. But there's 200 people watching, so obviously y'all found it somewhere. But let me tell you, if you're new to my channel and you're new to these live streams and stuff like that, first of all, welcome. Really glad to have you. Please come back next week, and maybe I'll be in a better mood. But if you've been following for a while, you probably saw the video that I did where the thumbnail was me like this. And I really liked that thumbnail. It was very appropriate for what actually happened. I had a similar scenario happen a while back. It wasn't in any of these tanks. It was actually in a tank that we don't have any fish in right now. I had my entire tank get wiped out. My whole tank crashed. And, well, I shouldn't say my entire tank. There were 2 fish that survived it. But everything else, I just come downstairs one day and it was just like this. They were just all dead. And I never quite figured out what it was that killed the fish because there was no way to figure out. I mean, and maybe we'll get into that in a little bit, but there's been so many people. There was one guy that said, I'm unsubscribing from your channel, not because your fish died, but because you don't want to look into why they died. And my response to that is, what am I supposed to do? I mean, how can I figure this out? I can't test the water because there's been dead fish in there. The levels of everything are through the roof. There was 60 dead fish in there. It's not like the water is going to test appropriately. All of the equipment was functioning properly. I didn't put anything in the tank. I didn't change my routine. Everything was normal. I don't know what happened, and if I go crazy trying to figure out what happened with those, then that's... Can I have a link to your score, Skinny? Oh, sorry. Where was I? Oh, I could make myself completely crazy trying to figure out why those fish died. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why it is. I can't test why it is. I'm not going to pay for these fish to have an autopsy. I don't know. Something hit them. It hit them fast. They all went, and it is what it is. And believe me, if there was ever an incident that has happened in my fish keeping life that is more appropriate to the title of this live stream, I don't know that there would be a better scenario than that one. I mean, that is the most appropriate scenario for saying that sometimes this hobby sucks. Sometimes it does. We go through these things. If there was ever a time where I contemplated getting out, it was that. I'm being honest with you. When that happened, I was almost ready to call it quits. But let me tell you why I didn't. For one, I've been keeping fish too long to just give up like that. That's one. For two, Lisa and the kids in this house love the fish. So there's that. But also, I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to admit defeat. Maybe take a little bit of a break, sure. But I didn't want to admit defeat and just say, well, I'm not good at that. Obviously, I can't do this, so I'm out. I didn't want to do that. And the biggest thing is you. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true. The fact that there are people that are following what I'm doing. There's people that are watching my content. I wasn't doing live streams then, but people watching my videos and appreciating my videos and getting something from it said, I can't walk away from that. I'm not really making any money from it, but it's not about the money. There's people that are watching it and they're getting something out of it. I've had people email me and say, I had this problem and you helped me through it and I owe you the world. You can't walk away from that. Forget it. So all of those reasons kept me in it. But if there was ever a reason to get out of the hobby, it would be a massive tank crash like that. I've heard stories of people having tens of thousands of dollars in a reef tank all go at one time in a crash. Maybe not tens of thousands, but you know what I'm saying. They might not have paid that, but they were worth that when they all died. I've heard nightmare stories worse than mine, but that was probably the worst scenario that I've ever had. After that would be my 30-inch arowana jumping out of the tank and dying. That was horrible. Father's Day morning, yeah, that was a great way to start the day. Today, it ranks up there because it's a discus, and you never want to lose discus. It's horrible. So, all right, here's what I'm going to do, folks. I'm going to scroll down, and if you see me doing this, it's because the chat is on my phone. I'm looking at it on my phone right now. So don't be offended by that. I've got a few here. I'm going to scroll down and see if we can find some good ones. This isn't really a nightmare story. It's more of a statement. And of course, I took my finger off of it, so I lost it. This is frustrating because as soon as you take your finger off, okay, let me see if I can do it a better way here. It's kind of embarrassing that this is happening. Somebody typed in a language that I can't read. Okay. People are like, who is this guy? He's not very professional. All right, let's start with this one. I haven't even read it, but it's the only one. Last month, I trusted a source for which caused me over $2,000 shrimp to perish and over 500 in citrus plecos perish. Needless to hours of time and hundreds of dollars washed away. I didn't quite understand that one, Sergeant Tank, but I am so sorry that happened to you. I had a bad batch of water and it almost wiped me out. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that story many, many times too. Just put a camera on them. Hi, John. I'm sorry, folks, but I'm struggling to scroll back through the comments. I feel like a jerk. If you're someone who has typed up a long thing, then I'm sorry. I'm considering sneaking a snail on a plane in a water bottle. Don't tell anyone. That's the dumbest comment I've read all day. I had 2 unsexed fire mouse which spawned a couple of weeks after I bought them. Long story short, I had to have my uncle take care of them, and the relative driving them left them outside in Montana in February. That's a nightmare story. Ouch. That is tough. That's a rough story, because it's like you want to be mad, but it's your uncle. You can't be mad at your uncle. Oh. This is really hard. I saw a video where a guy 400-gallon reef tank broke and shattered, spilling water everywhere, and they needed to replace flooring too. Yeah, I've seen and I know people that have had similar things happen. A good friend of mine, the tank wasn't running. It wasn't, it didn't do that. But carrying the tank empty into a house, it was an $1,800 custom tank. Forget where he bought it from, and dropped it. And it went boom all over the floor. Glass tank, horrible. Every time I come to your live stream, you make an insulting remark towards me. Guess it's time to unsub you. All right, bye. What do you think the best fish tank for people wanting to get started in the hobby is? Doesn't really apply to what we're talking about right now, but there is a lot of really good systems out there for new fish keepers to get their feet wet or get their hands wet. And just to that last guy's comment, I haven't insulted anybody. Are you the one that put the stupid snail in a water bottle? That was a dumb comment. If you don't like being called out for a dumb comment, then don't put up dumb comments. Anyway, there's so many systems out there right now, like the one that we're going to talk about in a minute, the Fluval Flex, where it's a self-contained unit. It's, all one system. Takes kind of the guesswork out of it. Fluval makes quite a few systems like that. I think Aquion's got some systems that are like that, where it's a complete setup. Those are great. They're smaller, and there's a lot of people that would try to steer you away from smaller tanks because, yes, it's true, smaller tanks can be a bit trickier to maintain and keep problems out of them. But I don't find them to be any more difficult. So starting out with a small tank is fine. But also, I think the two best, if you're not going to go with one of those, because I don't know how much money you have, the 29-gallon system from Marineland that comes with the penguin filter, it comes with the LED light. And also the same system, but a 55-gallon version. Those are fantastic. It's everything you need in one box. It's not an all-in-one setup like the Fluvals are, but it comes with everything that you need. Those are great because you don't have to guess of all the stuff that you need. So there you go. John, you don't understand what the comment was for. It was reference to the comment he put before while you were doing your rant. Okay, I mean, I'm just having fun anyway. I'm not trying to start any trouble. John, can you better help me understanding sexing in Bunas and peacocks? Can you better help me? I think I know where you... Can you help me to better understand sexing? Okay, sure. Peacocks are very simple. The females are going to be brown and kind of drab and not a whole lot to them. The males are going to be the brightly colored ones. If they're this big, you're not going to know yet, so you have to have some patience. Let them grow. This is why if you buy peacocks this size, they're always cheap. They're always under $10. Sometimes they're $5 because they don't know whether they're selling you a male or a female, and they would put them under the unsexed category. That doesn't mean that they've never had sex, although they probably haven't. It means that they have not identified the sex yet. If they can identify them as male, they're going to sell the males for more. So that's what unsexed means in the African cichlid world. But if they're larger, if they're 3 inches, 4 inches, and you look in a tank full of German reds, and there's a bunch of bright orange red ones and a bunch of brown ones, well, the brown ones are the females. So peacocks are very easy. In Bunas, some are trickier because, like cobalt blues, red zebras, yellow labs, the males and females look almost identical. You can't really tell them apart. That's when I would tell you to try venting them, getting a friend that you have or a trusted employee at a fish store to vent them for you. Venting means looking at the organs of the fish, the private areas of the fish, and determining it that way based on the size of the two hulls. I know that sounds weird, but do a search on venting cichlids and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's not hard to find. There's plenty of videos out there. Mark Bolton, the African Cichlid Hub, did a great one on venting cichlids, so check that one out. Watching with admiration. Okay, I bought a 10-gallon kit. How much time to cycle Anubias nana, Indian fern, mystery snail, and 4 guppies? Your cycle is going to take as long as it takes to cycle. I know that's an arrogant answer, but it is what it is. I mean, your tank needs as much time as it takes to cycle. There's no way for me to tell you, oh, it's exactly 3 weeks. The reason why I'm not going to tell you that is because 3 weeks from now, you're going to do something huge and put a bunch of fish in there or something, and they're all going to die because the tank wasn't cycled, and then you're going to blame me. John, you said it was 3 weeks. So do your tests, test your water, watch the nitrites. When the nitrites go down, or the ammonia first, the ammonia goes down, nitrites go up, then you know you're moving along, and nitrites go down, nitrates go up, then you know you're there. That's what you want. I'm trying to talk too fast. 0 ammonia, 0 nitrites, and a little bit of nitrates. That means that the bacteria in your tank is doing the job, converting all of that rotten food and all of that poop into nitrates, and you know the tank is doing what it's supposed to do. So egg spots doesn't mean diddly. The reason why I didn't talk about egg spots is because some females have egg spots. A great example, I call them ethylwanes. Some people call them ethylwanes. I prefer to just call them ethels. The ethylwane peacock is, the females have big, bold egg spots. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. So egg spots are kind of hit or miss. Typically, if you see one with big, bright yellow egg spots, that's a sure sign that it's a male. But I've seen them on females too. So, I mean, they're never as prominent as you would see on a male, ever. I mean, they're dimmed out and they're kind of drab, the egg spots are, I mean. So if you see them, some people will be thrown by that and they'll automatically assume it's a male. I've had people show me pictures of their fish, and they're like, I couldn't believe it. This 3-inch fish is a male because it has egg spots, and look, I only paid $8 for it. Aren't I lucky? And I look at it and I'm like, no, because you're going by the little spots that are on the anal fin. They're not the male's egg spots. Those are just kind of spots. So don't use that as a foolproof method. But again, if there's big, bright yellow spots, then you can pretty much rest assured it's a male. I was going to put together a 55-gallon saltwater tank, had never done one before, then saw John with his cichlids and did a cichlid tank instead. So John is either to thank or to blame. I've heard that a lot. I've heard people curse me because their hobby has gone to a whole nother level that they can't afford and all of this. And then I've had a lot of people thank me. So there you go. Okay. Hi, John. How's the planted tanks doing in the sand? I think sand is hard with plants, or at least for me. Might have been doing really well. It hasn't been perfect. There has been some plants that have not done as well. I need to do some work on this one and move some of it back up there. But they've been doing well in the sand. I haven't had a problem much at all, but I also don't have sand sifting fish. I don't have fish that are moving the sand around. I've got angels, danios down here. I've got the discus up here. So everybody leaves the sand alone. So it hasn't been a problem for me. Which one of your how many African videos would you go by? You have 2 videos on this topic. Both of them. They're both very similar. Your name's too small. Liquid Realty? Liquid Reality? Isn't realty and reality spelled the same? No, it's because of the I. Anyway, no, they're both good. I mean, it's the same concept in both of them. I think I went a little bit more in depth in the one that is more recent. So there you go. Can we see the saltwater tank? It's so... see, that's another one that I'm struggling with right now. The algae is just... whew, it is just a nightmare. I got a bunch of stuff in front of it, so I'm moving it all before I do this. But yeah, you can definitely see the saltwater tank. Let me unplug my phone. I'm going to tell you, before I do this, this is not a gorgeous reef tank, okay? It's not. I've got a coral in there that I just don't know if it's dead or not. I've got a lot of algae, but I've also got 2 fish in there, 3 fish now. Let me switch this up. Come on. There we go. Now the first thing to show you is I just saw the shrimp was coming out. Where did he go? Look at all that algae. Isn't that embarrassing? I'll explain why that algae is there in just a second. I guess he's not coming out. There's one of my little hermit crabs. But look at this diatom algae on the sand. It's a nightmare. It drives me absolutely crazy. And you know what? It's not there in the morning. I turn the lights on and leave them on for 10 hours or so, and it looks like that in the evening. But I've got my Xenia there, which it's a goner. It's officially done. It's very, very sad. You can see a lot of growth, not of the good kind, on the rocks there. Some of it's the good kind, but not all good. There is my mushroom, green spotted mushroom. I absolutely love that guy. He changes shape every once in a while. Doesn't really move around, but kind of some days he's bigger than others. The yellow polyps, I'm sorry, isn't that what it is? Yellow polyps? I'm absolutely in love with that. That's probably my favorite coral in the tank. Absolutely love it. And then there is the zoanthids, which I stuck down here because I didn't want it to spread all over the place, and it didn't look happy where it was before. I don't know if I'm going to move that. It hasn't been coming out as much or opening up as much as it was, so I'm thinking that it might be unhappy in that spot. But there it is. It might look worse in person than it does on video. I don't know. But here's why we have all that algae there. It's because I stuck the Fluval Flex right here. Now, let me just show you There's my box for my Apple Airport. That's what I had this this tripod on before. But this is what I wanted to set up, but I don't think I like it. I think it, if I put the Flex there and do what I'm going to do with it, which we're going to talk about in a minute, I think it'd be really cool, but it doesn't leave a lot of space on the desk. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to move that or not. If I am going to move it, I don't know where I'm going to put it. So let me switch this back. So, so the Fluval Flex, you see it there. It's going to move. I don't know where it's going to move to, but it's going to move. Sand sifting goby. Yeah, I have a goby in there. I forgot to talk about the fish. I talked about them last week. We've got the Royal Grandma fish in there. There's another word. It's like blistle. And then the tomato clown are in there also. So, yeah, we didn't talk about those. I love them. I adore them. The Royal Grandma is my little buddy. We hang out. We talk. We talk about the old days, and it's really fun. But what am I going to do with the Flex? Hold on a second here. See, when you're an addict like me, you have to take a pause every once in a while to do that. And when you do that, usually people yell at me for it. So if you're going to yell at me, go right ahead. John, you're not shipping fish anymore, are you? No, I am not. Sorry about that. It's been a while. January of last year. So it's been almost 2 years. No, it's been almost 2 years since we stopped. So they say if you use a Mac, it will cause algae to grow in your tank. I saw it on the internet there. You must be a Windows Windows user, you rascal. Now, I am a Mac guy, and I'm so very proud to say it because it's made my life so much easier. So, but that's not true. It's absolutely not true. What are we going to do with this Flex? The decision was simple. If you watched my video last week, I unboxed the Flex and showed it to you. Got it in before Sean Peck got his in. I didn't even know he had it until he put out the video. That was really cool. I was super excited to see that Fluval sent him one too. He deserves it. His channel is awesome, and I just absolutely adore that guy. So good to see him get some love from Fluval too. But I had no idea that he had one, and we put our videos up pretty close to each other. But I asked you in that live stream, what should I put in this Fluval Flex? Because there was so many options. I mean, there were so many things that we could do with it. And I hope you're not watching this video just for the update. You're probably going to be mad that you had to sit through 45 minutes of me griping before. But it was pretty simple to make the decision, because it was what we wanted, what Lisa and I wanted to do in this tank was the same thing that the most people requested that we do in that tank. The first thing was a no-brainer, and that's shrimp. I mean, shrimp, we had to do shrimp. I've developed an obsession with shrimp. Not an obsession, but I love them. I mean, I'm crazy about them. The saltwater ones have been a blast for me, even though they're always hiding, and it drives me nuts because I just want to see them and I want to poke them and I want to touch them. I don't poke them, but I love these shrimp. And so I'm reading somebody's comment, watching for the update. So there you are, Skinny Fish. You just got your comment read. That's why you shouldn't read comments when you're doing live streams, because you end up... Anyway, shrimp are something that I've fallen in love with in a big way. And so going with the freshwater variety really was a no-brainer, especially when we knew we wanted to do plants. I see a couple of people suggesting rams and shell dwellers. Those were also very, very much requested. And I love rams. I absolutely love rams. I love shellies. But I love my shrimp, and I love the other fish that we decided to go with, because we wanted to do the shrimp for the bottom, and then we wanted to have some fish swimming around. And what are those? What better microfish are there for a tank that size than rasboras, particularly the chili variety? That's what we're going to go with. Chili rasboras, I'm super excited about it. And I want to go with red shrimp too, either the cherry shrimp or are they called red crystals, pure red crystals or something like that, the ones that are red and white. Love those too. So that's what we're going to go with. Chili rasboras, a nice red fish with the red shrimp. Absolutely love it. And of course, tons and tons and tons of plants. I don't think that live stream was an hour old before Corey from Aquarium Co-op reached out to me. We talked about it. So Corey and I are going to team up to do the plants. And there again, not in person because he lives all the way on the other side of the country, but going to work with him on getting the right plants for a tank that size. And we're going to fill it with plants, fill it with rocks. Going to make my first actual like little aquascape. First time I've ever done that. I mean, I've decorated my tanks, but never to where I want it to look like an art project. So that's what we're going to do with the tank. And I can't wait. Why have I waited? Well, I mean, it's been Christmas, it's been job hunting, it's been a lot of stuff. So that's why I haven't done it. But I've decided I'm gonna do videos, like individual short videos on each aspect of this project. So when I get my substrate, I'm gonna do a video just about that substrate. It might be 2-3 minutes long. I'm not gonna do a video when I fill it up with water, but when I add stones, when I add the plants, when I add the shrimp, when I add the fish, all of those, every single little aspect of this project I'm going to show in videos, and not in one long video, but in smaller videos. I kind of want to do that now. I'm gonna go back to the style that I used to have back in the day, of just kind of winging it. Not heavily edited videos. You ever tried to say edited really fast? Not a lot of editing, not a lot of flashy stuff, just kind of, this is it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna kind of take that approach with these videos on this and see how it goes. It seems to be that the response was much better to those back in the day than the newer, more produced ones, even though I love making the more produced ones, but we'll have to see how that goes. I'm also thinking about bringing back the KG Q&A. A lot of things that I'm thinking about. 2017 is going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year for KGTropicals. It's going to be a big year for me personally, and we're going to have a lot of stuff going on. So look, folks, Christmas is over with. You're probably broke like us because you spent all your money at Christmas, but if you have a little bit of money left and you need your fish supplies, don't forget, go over to KGTropicals.com. That's my website. I would love to ship out this stuff to you. If you put Tank Talk Nation in the promo box at checkout, I'm going to give you 10% off even after Christmas. Yeah, even after Christmas. And if you spend over $59.99, you get your order shipped to you for free. The shipping is free. You don't get your order for free. You get the shipping for free, and that's 2-day shipping. So gotta love that. What else was I going to say? I was going to say one other thing, and this is why live sometimes can be frustrating. But anyway, yes, if you came in late, the whole reason why I named this particular live stream, Sometimes This Hobby Sucks, is because of a pretty hefty, pretty long rant that I did in the beginning of this live stream. If you didn't catch that, wait till this uploads to YouTube once we're done talking here, and you can watch that. I lost a discus today, and I lost a fish out of that tank today. Boom. Both of them in one day. There's nothing worse than that. And now I remembered what I was going to talk about. I mentioned Tank Talk Nation. If you put that in the promo box, where did that come from? That came from the Facebook group Tank Talk. If you're not a member of Tank Talk, then I don't know what you're doing, because it's got to be the fastest growing fish Facebook group. It has to be. I mean, we had a speed bump a couple of weeks ago where a couple people tried to start some crap and tried to mix things up in there. We got them out of there, and they went to other groups and badmouthed us, and you know how that is. But it's a great group of people over there. If you're not a member of the Facebook group yet, you got to do it, because there's tons of great people in there. I've got an unbelievable assembly of moderators that are working in there. They'll take care of you if there's a problem. People answer your questions. You put a question you post a question And I'm telling you, within an hour, you'll have 50 responses. That might be exaggerating a bit, but depends on what the question is. It's pretty quick. People will respond to you, and they'll respond with their experiences and hope to help you out. It's a beautiful thing. I love that group, and I think you will too. So if you're not a member yet, I put a link to it in the description of this live stream. Go over there, check it out. Scroll down the description a little bit more and look in the all of our different affiliates. They're offering discounts if you put Tank Talk or KGTropicals in the promo box. Check those out and help support them, which also helps support us, which also helps support the overall community. It's a beautiful thing. So there it is, folks. We're almost coming up on an hour. My throat is pretty much wrecked. I don't know why it is, but when I do these live streams, I yell and it just wears my throat out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off today. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with me. I had fun venting, and I hope you did too. I'm sorry if some of you took the time to type out a long story of yours and I didn't get to it. I apologize about that, but the comment thing is for the birds on this. I'm really looking forward to YouTube updating the mobile app and giving us the ability to live stream direct from the app. I think it'll probably be better than this Wirecast thing. But anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out. I look forward to talking to you again next week. And my God, I hope there will be a video or two that will upload before then. But if there's not, I will see you back.